Welcome to the Nuff Said podcast. Tonight we're talking Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. Season 2, Episode 2. Heavy is the head.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm your host, revenge-fueled Rob Southgate, and with me is...
Jetfoil Jack Wendrowski.
And
the attractive Alil.
One of these things is a complete lie. See if you can guess which one it is.
One of these things is not like the other.
If you can guess it, the person who's lying will send you their Agent Venom toy.
I am beautiful. That's what my mama told me.
Yeah. Of course, she was blind. How is Helen Keller doing?
Very, very well. Very well.
So, we did a mean Helen Keller joke right at the top. This is going to be some podcast, boys.
There goes our download ratio.
The Helen Keller contingent is upset with us now.
Yep, from 2 to 1.
2 to 1. Oh, that means we lost Steve.
Yep.
So,
on a scale of 1 to 2, we are now down to a 1.
Excellent. So, rate us and review us on iTunes. Give us 1 star. Apparently, that's where we're at. So, let's talk about this episode, you guys. I had a lot of fun with it, even though it wasn't a fun episode per se. What did you guys think?
Yeah, it was a bucket of laughs.
A bucket of laughs. How about you, Lil? Bucket of chicken?
Yes, exactly. A bucket of ham hocks. No, it was a good episode. I don't know if I had a bunch of laughs with it. It was similar to last week, kind of difficult at times, but it was good, and it continued the story that it built on, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think that it did do a nice job of continuing the story. I think we're getting some answers. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but the story's moving forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, did we get any answers, really? I think there's more questions.
I feel like we did in a way. I'll tell you. Let's get into that. I think I can put this into words. I'm going to try. It's a podcast. I better be able to. It's not that we got answers. I was thinking about specifically the Fitz situation. Mm-hmm. Last week, we went the whole time not knowing. And then we had the big shocker reveal about Simmons, right?
Right.
This week, we knew that the whole time. So it felt more like we had answers in that there was a resolution to it. And I was able to deal with that part of the story a lot better. I feel terrible for Fitz.
Well, and we've, of course, I had to do a little catching up, and we've talked about this, but one thing that we really haven't talked about is kind of the underpinning that's going on, and they see the kind of the stammering Fitz, but what we see is Simmons filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
Now, yes, he's stammering and forgetting these things, but his alter...
But inside, he's answering them. He's got the answers in there. I was thinking the same thing, Jack.
Yeah.
I totally know what you're going to say, because here's what I was thinking. Go ahead, because I've got a theory on what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, at some point in the ego, in the mind, these two are going to kind of get back together to make
one Fitz.
To make one Fitz. But they've really kind of ignored, and we even really didn't talk about this last time, but, it's all together in his head. So the elements are there, if he can kind of continue to talk back and forth. And the other element is, now, was it Triplet or was it the other guy that started to translate for Fitz? He's like, I get what he's saying.
Oh, Mac.
Mac.
Yeah.
And so Max starts to translate for him. He says, I didn't solve this today. Yeah, it's okay, man. Oh, wait, you didn't solve this today. Yeah. You've solved this before. And he kind of goes back. So I think we're seeing, they say, oh, he's getting worse, and they're portraying this. But if you look at the underpinnings, I think Fitz is getting better. Fitz is in there. Something's gonna happen to get him back together. It's gonna have to, I think it's gonna be 084 material, or he'll get the injection like everybody else has, but I think there's really hope for Fitz. This is not, I think this is a Cinderella story in the making.
Cinderella story. What do you think about that, Lil?
I don't know. I kept sitting back and looking at it. I agree completely with what you said. He's like of two minds right now. Like he's talking to himself, he's answering himself, but he can't, in his own head. But I don't know if they're just going to go with that, kind of cure. Here's some, a 0.84 and you're all better. I think it's going to have to be something huge. And they tease some stuff going forward. I don't want to talk about it right now because I do want to talk about the tease for next week because literally that tease made me forget the entire episode.
I know.
I was like, what did I just
thoughts
watch?
about the
Holy
tease
cow.
too. We'll get there. I have thoughts about that too.
I think it's going to be something different. I think it's going to be either something tragic that is going to break Fitz out of this,
okay,
or it's going to be something involving Sky's father and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think it's just going to be oh no, we need to inject the whatever the blood was or whatever they do. I don't think it's just going to be something as simple as that.
Well, that is really gone. But what I'm saying for the 084 is it's going to be something. What I meant to say, it's going to be something big. It's going to be something alien. And, the GH125 or whatever that was. I think all that is gone. They've, purportedly used all of it up. Garrett, kind of sucked up whatever was left of that stuff, and
the blue goo,
but it doesn't have to exactly be the blue goo. And you know what? He might not be the only alien that they have. I mean, they did tease it. We assume that it's the same Kree that we've already seen in the box when Agent Carter busts in, but you never know. I mean, we don't know everything that Fury's hiding. I mean, we didn't know about the object yesterday. There could be tons of things. There could be a whole.
Well, we saw in that episode last season when they broke into the underground storage thing. That was just full of magic items.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
and
tons of stuff. So
when you've had that kind of damage to the frontal lobes, like guys that had traumatic brain injury, TBIs. Those you can't reconnect that stuff. In any other series, you might as well just shoot him in the back of the head because he's done.
Right.
He's going to the school with special kids right now. This Fitz for all practical in reality's purposes is done, but we're not in a show that deals with reality. We're on a show that you can be dead for 3 days and we can bring you back at any cost.
Right.
That's true, but I also think it's a little bit more reality based because if you have a person in the lead like Coulson who is attached to this team, he would, as a person, keep Fitz around no matter what.
I
don't think he would just drop him off in a hospital.
He's keeping him there. I mean, what really
exactly.
This guy is not functioning to be in the position he's in. I don't. Most military things aren't going to give a guy a chance to just hang out.
Well, he's there, and right now he's all they have. But seriously, you could only take it so far. You give him a little office and a calculator, and you call it done. But I just think really there's no reason in a TV series, in reality, like if your best friend, got hit in the back of the head, got a massive TBI, and you could stick him in an office somewhere and, have his, kind of like a courtesy job, you would do that. But that doesn't work in a TV series. He's not going to be our resident kind of damaged guy. I think they've got to have something planned. Otherwise, there's no reason to keep his character on. If you're going to do that, you might as well kill him at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, I'm with you. In fact, I actually think what's going on here, and I was really watching during this episode thinking about this because I did notice what you said, that he is a whole mind in there. He is stammering, but she's filling in the blanks. And really, didn't that kind of happen last season anyway? He didn't stammer, but they finished each other's sentences.
Well, yeah.
So he's using the image of her to still do that, basically.
Yeah, and that's why I think, they say, there's these gaps, but we're hearing the gaps, which means in his brain, they're in there. It's jumping.
Yeah, right. They're in there.
Yeah, they're jumping 2 different tracks, but they're in there. So to me, it's, he's redeemable. Ward, I think we're just kind of waiting. We're waiting his character out until, what did they call like the when somebody's dying and they give that last confession, a dying man. Well, the dying confession or something.
Last rites.
Not last rites,
Final
but
confession.
Yeah.
Watch, it's gonna be final confession. We keep saying the same thing over and over.
It's
Fell asleep on us here.
Yeah, no, there's another word for it, but it's the dying man's something or other.
Okay, yeah,
but
if you know
but anyway.
English, contact our show at Southgate Media Group. Fill in the blanks. We're like a Mad Libs. This show is like Mad Libs. As you listen, you just fill in the blanks. We're looking for a noun right now.
This show is like Fitz.
Yeah, we need Simmons.
We're brain damaged.
I actually tweeted that last night. There was a point when he was stammering, and I just wrote I tweeted out wow, I really am Fitz. Like, it was just exactly how it sounds on our show. Terrible.
Yeah, I know, because we're talking about this episode, but I don't know if you heard, because we were talking about Ward, that the character of Ward's brother is coming to the show.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I think he's some kind of political person. I didn't read the whole article. I just knew that I think it's episode 6 that they're saying that Ward's brother is going to be involved, and he's some kind of big wig in the U.S. government.
Okay. So is it going to be like Snoopy? Like when Snoopy gets a mustache, he's Spike.
It's going to be Spike.
No, it's a different.
It's going to be like Ward with like a 60s kind of.
No, it'll be that like janky mustache, just like Snoopy's cousin Spike has.
Just like
hanging
Spike
down all straggly.
And he'll have like a little, a little French beret, talking accent. Hello, my brother is a Ward, but I am nothing like him.
And Sky will fall in love with him, and then there'll be a big reveal. It's a fake mustache.
Da-da-da.
Da-da-da. It's a life model decoy of Ward, even though that was never written into this. He rips off the mask, and it's actually Shaggy underneath.
Okay, so I don't know why that reminded me. So we've got the 084, and it's the first 084.
Right.
Okay, and they start to reveal this episode for the first time, like the funky pattern. Now, I didn't notice it. Did you notice it in the first episode where, as it starts to crawl up your arm, those symbols that Coulson has been scribbling out were in the skin?
Did you think that? I didn't think they were the same.
Well, I didn't even notice until was it Sky that mentioned that?
Yeah, she mentioned the symbols, but I'm telling you, I thought they were different. I thought these looked more like the symbols we see from like Asgard.
I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't notice it in the skin, but when
I was gonna say, whose skin? What did I miss here? Whose skin had symbols?
Anybody that touched the first 084.
So when they were like frozen, like in carbonite.
Yeah, like there's a slight like pattern going on there is what they're saying. I caught when she said that, and I did not notice that at all.
I couldn't see that.
But I did notice it when the lady in the dress had grabbed it.
Oh, of course.
She thought, of course, this is it. I'm going to die. And it decides to let her live. But I don't think it decided to let her live. I think.
Yeah, why does it care about letting her live?
Because she's not human.
No, she's an Inhuman. I'm telling you, she's an Inhuman.
Well, I'm just telling you.
And I don't think maybe she is not aware of it fully, but she's an Inhuman. And Kyle MacLachlan is an Inhuman. I'm sure of it. I'm positive.
Oh, yeah. And I think Sky is the same.
Yeah.
I think Sky's an Inhuman and she's an Inhuman. And that's the reason, that the lady in the lady in the leopard dress, what was her moniker?
Raina?
Raina.
Flowers.
Yeah. Flower, the lady, Flowers.
Yeah, just call her Flowers. Then you'll have an easier time.
And so, Flowers
it's okay,
touches
Fitz. You'll get it. You'll get it.
But
that is how that whole section sounded.
It did, didn't it? And you know what? I was Mac right there. We were Fitz Mac.
Yeah, absolutely.
And anyway, when Lil and I talk, we're Big Mac. Thank you.
There you
go. Triple layered and unhealthy.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, when Flowers touches it, they make it seem like, oh, it it decided to let you live. I don't think it decides anything. I think it's a beacon, and whatever's inside Coulson dying to get out is part of that 084.
Yeah, I think that the reason it reacted that way is because she is an Inhuman. I think that's why Kyle MacLachlan knew, touch it, you're going to be fine. She may not know, but he knows.
Now, do you think he knows, or
No,
he
I
wanted
think
to
he
find
knows.
out?
No, I think he knows.
I don't think he knows. I think he was being.
I think he suspects.
Yeah, I think he was fishing and hopeful, and I think he got cocky and he got rewarded. But I don't. It makes it seem like he was all on top of this. I don't really think so. I think he suspected and was playing a long shot, and he didn't have to pay the consequences for it.
Okay. So what do you think of her working with him?
I'm not crazy about it.
Okay.
I mean,
you're critical of it. Now, why are you critical of it?
I don't know. I just don't. I don't like the guy.
Wait, Jack. So you don't like Sky's father. You think he's a bad guy, so you don't like her working with him. Is that what you're saying? I just want to be clear because this is kind of a complex thing going on here with Flowers.
It is. And on top of it,
and I want to know if it's a personal thing, like you're like, nope, I just don't like Kyle MacLachlan, or I don't like that character, or I want her to not be with the bad guy.
Well, no, because I mean she's been with bad guys the entire time. I just don't like. Yeah, I don't know that I like him as a character. I think he's got this false. To me, it's like it's a confidence, but a false sense of confidence for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I think he's trying to get. He's trying to get to Sky, or for whatever reason, but it just doesn't come off. Something's not right to me.
Okay. What about you, Alil?
I mean, it fits her character. I mean, she didn't like working with Garrett because she actually thought that he was really clairvoyant.
Right.
She didn't care about the evil that he did, but she cares about people with power. And I think Sky's father.
It's not that she cares about people in power. It's people with
power. That's what I said.
Powers.
With
I just
power.
wanted to be clear about that because this is, like I said, it's a very complex thing going on with her, and I think that it's going to take a lot of talking out this season. What's actually happening with Flowers?
I agree.
So keep going, Lil. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. No, so I think that's what she's drawn to. She doesn't care. I think she looks down on humanity anyway. So she's already in my mind, in that villain role. So I don't kind of care, that she's with him or not. I don't see her as a good person to be redeemable with the team. I see her as
I agree totally. She's not going to be redeemed with the team.
Yeah. So I mean, it fits to what she's doing.
When she called Coulson, and she was obviously baiting him, and she was trying to work Coulson, I had another thought when that was going on, that she was more Catwoman than she was a bad guy. In that Catwoman's a bad guy, but Batman kind of, he'll trip and let her get away.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt that Coulson was almost like, hey, when you're ready to switch teams, I'm not shutting the door on you here.
Right. Well, I think
without him saying that,
I think because she's without allegiance. She's almost in a voyeur investigator. Whereas there are sides. She doesn't really care anymore for Hydra than anybody else. And so if she can get what she wants working with Coulson, I think Coulson will take her on. I think.
Right. I think she's kind of like the mercenaries he was working with. She's been on the bad side of things, but at some point, I think that we could see her even get sucked into the S.H.I.E.L.D. vacuum for a while.
Well, see, and maybe it is more because of her. She's intrigued by Coulson. I think that might draw her, depending on what happens with.
Well, yeah, and she's intrigued by the fact that he came back to life and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it would be more of I will help you out with this situation because I'm intrigued by you, who you are, just being around all the, being around Hydra and seeing, what everyone's fear and respect for Coulson, what makes this man tick, and the fact that he came back to life, So it's all these different things that I think would draw her to that, but not draw her to that for the good of Shield to do something good. It would be more of something like you said. Actually, that is a very good analogy. She's like Catwoman or Black Cat or something like that, where she's on that fence. You know, she tends to go to the darker side because it's more fun, it's more intriguing. They do more, but she'll come and help out, you know, Batman or Spider-Man or whoever.
Right, and we haven't seen her do that yet, but I just kind of think that's where this is going.
Yeah, I agree. They wouldn't have set up that little scene with Coulson without it going that way. They're just not that subtle.
Yeah, true.
You know, whenever you see these little hints, they follow up with them.
Speaking of not subtle, does anybody think that Xena Warrior Princess is dead?
I do. I don't know why I do. Because
you think she's really dead? You think they would bring Lucy Lawless on the show for about, 5 minutes of screen time, have her awesomely cut her own arm off, and then just kill her? And we never see the body. This is what I was saying through the whole thing, because I was watching it once again with my daughter Molly, who was saying, "Oh, she's dead." And I said, "We've never seen a body. We saw a funeral, but we never saw a body in any way."
Right.
She's not dead.
Are they? They're not going to bury an empty casket. I think he was there watching to make sure.
You don't think that's ever happened in history?
No. I do believe that's happened in history, but I mean, her sister, everybody was there. There was a proper funeral.
Yeah, but they didn't.
But
see
you're
the
right.
body.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it more, they really stressed on this whole proper funeral thing, maybe as the switcheroo. You know, for everybody to think, okay, she's dead, and then
there's no way
episode
she's dead.
13, she's coming back.
It's Xena Warrior Princess. There's no way she's dead.
Yeah, but it's still Xena Warrior Princess. When was that popular? It's been
in this house
20 years. Okay.
Moments ago.
All right. I get that. But
so what do you do with let's say she's still alive.
If it wasn't popular, then how come when she went, the headlines on like IO9 and Newsarama were Xena coming to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
So let me ask you this. What do you do with she is still alive. What do you do with it?
I told you. I think she's going to be, what's her name? Missy the Bionic Woman. You know what I mean?
Like they're and we talked about that before, that she becomes their Cyberlock.
Well, yeah, she becomes that
Deathlock.
You know who I'm talking about. I said it last week, and I'm going to look like a fool because I can't remember the name of this character. What is it? She's in the Defenders. Do you know who I'm talking about?
There's so many. What does she wear? What does she look like?
She's African American. She's got a bionic arm. Come on.
I don't remember.
Didn't I talk about this on the last show?
I was asleep for that shit.
You know what? I thought it was going to be better having you on here. I thought somebody'd be paying attention to me. And say it isn't so, Alil. No, it's Missy something. It's I was talking about how she's like a blaxploitation character. And at least that's kind of how it comes off. And she's way better than that. And she's got this bionic arm, and she works with the one from Asgard. Wow, I'm really falling into a hole here. You know what? We might just move on and let Charlie unlock this whole thing for me.
There you go. Misty Knight.
Misty Knight.
There you go.
That's who she's going to become. Without the, because I think them doing a character like Misty Knight with the big afro and the whole, I don't think that's going to happen on here.
No.
But it doesn't mean that they'd switch Misty from being, African American to Caucasian. But I think they are. I don't think they're going to call her Misty Knight. I think they're going to bring a character that's got all those abilities. It's going to be the same thing, and that's what Xena is going to become.
She was a longtime supporting character in comic books such as X-Men and Power Man and Iron Fist. She also had a major role in the Deathlock story arc.
What am I telling you?
Oh.
Yeah. And it fits. And we're not talking about Fitz.
And Simmons, doesn't it? I think I'm right. I think she's Misty Knight.
I hate to agree with you, but I think you're right.
No, for sure we're wrong, because we've got two agrees. Make it a trifecta, and let's really be wrong.
This is like 3 X's on America's Got Talent.
Right. She's also important in Civil War, by the way.
I just don't see it. I just don't see them changing the character that way and making her Lucy Lawless. If they're gonna keep Lucy Lawless, she's gonna be somebody else. I'd
like to see Lucy Lawless with a big 70s afro. That'd be awesome.
Oh, make that happen.
Maybe they bring her back as Xena.
Put her in a
Oh,
nice...
make that happen even more.
Xena part of the Shield.
Oh, that would be awesome. Suddenly the whole thing just goes off the rails, makes no sense. It sounds like our Spider-Man show. If
There you
we
go.
get our Spider-Man show, Misty Knight will be on there with the giant fro and sidekicked with Xena Warrior Princess, just because.
There you
And
go.
Luke Cage.
Oh,
as-
people will hate us.
No,
I think-
I just don't know who she would be. I mean,
I'm telling you who she's going to be.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Misty Knight, but they're going to change the elements of the character to fit.
Right. I do too. And I also think by making her be Lucy Lawless, you're taking the same character traits, but you're changing it enough that it's not so obvious. That's something they're trying to do here. Like, we don't know who Skye is, but Skye is going to be somebody. Oh, that's what I was going to go. Let's talk about this for a second. When I was talking about Fitz, this is what I was struck with this week when I was watching Fitz have the two-sided conversation in his head, everything. And I started thinking, I wonder if he is going to, because like if Simmons doesn't come back,
Right.
or if she comes back and is different, or she comes back and treats him differently, I think that it's going to cause him to do something. Will he become a bad guy? No. But will he inject himself? Will he subject himself to gamma radiation? Will he do something? Yeah, very well could. And he could end up going another way with this character. He could end up being somebody that we're not aware of.
Well, since we're going in that Simmons direction, what about the preview for next week where she
you want to
puts
jump
on-
into it, huh?
I do.
Wait. Before we get into that, did you say when you were reading her Misty Knight's bio that she actually had her right arm cut off?
Me? No.
Yeah.
She
Okay,
has her right arm is bionic.
Her right arm
Yeah.
is bionic.
So yeah, because I'm reading her bio here because I'm again not very familiar with her, and it just because then I was just trying to think of which arm was Lucy Lawless holding the 084.
It was the left, actually. I'm pretty
Nice.
sure. Because when they cut it off, that was her window hand, and she was in the back left seat.
Oh, Lucy Lawless?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her left hand.
Okay.
And Misty Knight, it's her right hand is bionic.
Right. But I
But
don't
once
know.
again, I don't think any of that matters.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she's not African American and a fro and a really tight ass body.
She also doesn't need to
So-
be, bite your tongue. I watch Xena. It does not need to be Misty Knight that she turns into. We take the attributes of that character and she becomes that character.
Right.
Leaving the door open for more people like her. Just like when you have various types of Hulks, this is like a female Deathlock, but it's a way to take this character and kind of use it in this universe.
So instead of Misty Day, she becomes Streamy Night.
Streamy,
Streamy Day instead of Misty Night.
cloudy day.
Cloudy Day.
What is streamy and misty?
I don't know. Misty, a stream, a mist. Yeah, they're kind of opposites.
What?
Streamy Day.
I'm so lost.
I'm so lost too.
Streamy Day and Misty
Wait a
Night.
minute. Wait, Fitz, are you okay?
And then,
Are you with me?
Peanut butter and jelly and nuclear physics.
I made sense out of this joke yesterday. No, what did you say? I didn't make sense out of this joke today. I think that's going to be our T-shirt for the show. This didn't make sense today. I didn't make this sense today.
You're not helping yourself.
No, we're going to have to figure that one out. Okay, so Hunter is now with the team. Who didn't see that coming?
It flippy flopped.
The whole thing, to me, that was actually my least favorite part of the episode. Because
Okay.
it just I felt like I knew what was happening the whole time. Like I knew, okay, when Talbot made the deal with him and then he immediately goes to Coulson and he tells it. I thought that was interesting how he just went ahead and told it.
Right.
But from then on, I was like, Coulson's going to play him. Coulson's going to get him to do this. They gave him, as soon as he said, oh, you gave me the icer gun, I was like, yeah, because he's going to shoot you guys and make you sleep so he can do his thing. And that was all set up by Coulson to put him in
Right.
the position he needs to be in. It was all way obvious to me.
Well,
And I thought it was just a way to bring Hunter into the fold.
yeah,
I agree with that.
I agree because it fits Coulson's philosophy. I need you because first off, I don't have many other people, but I need the kind of guy that can operate off the grid, and he is that character that fits into Coulson's
He
kind of
does for sure.
yeah. Now, before I get back into the Simmons thing, I do want to vent a little bit about people in uniform on TV shows.
Okay.
If you are now, we call if your stuff is tight. Now we call that soldier a strack.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have my video on here. Let me turn that off. No, you asked if my stuff was tight.
I'm saying, you weren't supposed to see that.
You know what? I made sense out of that joke yesterday.
There you go.
Still didn't work. Darn it.
Still didn't work. But you're getting there, and Simmons will get you to it. So, can I continue with my rant?
Please.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Yeah. Now we're stretching. You're doing Ross Perot jokes.
All my jokes are from 1980. You get used to that. But so let me get back to my military rant. Having been in the military for 21 long years, if you're going to have this guy, he's supposed to be this high-speed colonel who has now gotten promoted to brigadier general. And, it's a 1-star. He's this up and coming because, of course, he's put himself in the limelight. He's going to take down S.H.I.E.L.D. and protect America. But all his stuff is together. His uniform is strack. He's, this gung-ho soldier. And he comes out with his cover, it's what we call a cap. And he walks off the helicopter, and he's coming up, and his hat is about 3 sizes too big, and
I did notice that.
It's about 3 sizes too big, and it's not shaped at the edge like anybody that takes half an ounce of pride in their uniform. So this guy, comes down looking like Bazooka Joe. It's like it kind of made me a little aggravated. I was like, yeah, this guy is supposed to be, Joe military, and my first impression is like, who is this Joker coming off the? Oh God, it's Talbot. It's like, okay, this is just going to kill me. So I let that go. But what about when Simmons puts on that tight
That was
fitting?
it? Wait, that was it?
That was it.
Okay.
That just don't. Yeah.
If you did you fall asleep during that part?
What? Wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, really, how far I don't know how far you want to take it, but, if you're going to wear the uniform,
Yes.
Then wear the uniform. Somebody, they're supposed to have military advisors, and this is supposed to be a paramilitary unit. Please. I mean,
yeah, you would think that stuff would be tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you want me to expound more on that? Or
No, please. Let's go back to Misty Night.
or Streamy Day?
Streamy Day.
I made it work. All right.
Yay. You did.
So anyway, I want to get back to Simmons in that tight-fitting black jacket that's got a Hydra thing on the back neck.
Okay. Now, wait a minute. Okay. Let's cut to that because we actually didn't talk about the bad guy from the episode or really much of the episode. So we're going to come back to that.
Matter.
It really doesn't. But I want to talk about this ending thing. Now, I watched it more than once. Here's what I want to say about it. I am not positive that was Simmons putting the jacket on with the Hydra logo. And if Hydra's this big secret organization, what are they doing branding their clothes like Nike?
Well, S.H.I.E.L.D. did in season 1, which
but
I was laughing at. They had S.H.I.E.L.D. water bottle. They had,
but like
Hydra logo was on everything.
But Hydra is in hiding.
It's
S.H.I.E.L.D. is like a military group, even though they're like a rogue military group. They still would be a military group. Like Hydra was in hiding. Now they're like branding like Nike.
Well, I have to tell you, the way they're dressing, I might align myself with S.H.I.E.L.D. just because I tend to be kind of the good guy, but I might start dressing like Hydra.
Okay.
Because, they got some nice
dental plan, apparently. They keep mentioning that.
Really nice dental plan and like the happening like clothes. I mean, she looked really good from behind.
Okay. Oh, you want to look good like her from behind? Well, Jack.
Well, not like her.
Suddenly, this show has taken a very strange turn.
Well, you drove the car.
I did, right off the cliff. So, I'm not convinced that was her putting the Hydra thing on. I'm also not convinced that what we saw was what is actually playing out. When she came around the corner with the gun and Coulson says, oh, why didn't you tell me? Or I can't even remember what he says.
You think I didn't? You think
I didn't know or whatever. I'm not convinced that she is Hydra. I think they were misleading us.
You think they would do that to us?
I think that was complete misleading. Although I am not convinced that she has not jumped ship and is part of S2e2, which we have not seen surface here yet, but I am 100% sure is going to surface.
Well, we talked about that quite a while ago, and it makes a lot of sense. It coincides with the reboot of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
I mean,
it makes perfect sense.
It does. And that's one of the things I guess Feige talked about is not rewriting history, but using the things that they've already, why build a whole new network when you have one in the story arcs already?
Right. Yeah, you can alter things, you can play with them a little bit, but you've got this infrastructure. Keep working with it. And I mean, not everybody knows this story. And frankly, it's not a boring story.
No, and you've got the perfect kind of inside drama whenever you want to bring out, instead of May trying to shoot at every one of the other people on the team, you know what? She's maybe going to start shooting at members of S.W.O.R.D.
Okay, how awesome was that? May on the motorcycle. That was the best. And she's got the gun on him, and he's like, stand down. And she's like, I got the shot. I was like, take the shot because you're freaking awesome in this.
Well, first off, the thing was, she's still got this attitude like, yeah, he's director of S.H.I.E.L.D., but she's director of Coulson.
Right.
And
she is.
She's not.
She is. Yeah. I mean, who's she reporting to?
No, but
she's gone.
She's done.
She's not.
She has no ammo.
No, you guys are misinterpreting this. She and Phil have a relationship that she's like his accountability partner. That's her position now. So before, yes, she was reporting back to Nick Fury. And you know what? Frankly, she still might be.
Yeah, okay? He's still out there. We know he's alive.
But when we saw the scene where she was like, it's been 17 days since your last incident, he goes, it's been 18. And she's like, you need to do this. She is his accountability partner. She is the one that is keeping him in check because he wants her to be. And I don't think that when he was yelling at her to stand down and she's like, I got the shot, I think that was more team-ish than director to subordinate. I think that was more the way they worked when they were on the team last season. And it made perfect sense to me. I don't think that she's in charge of Coulson other than he's put her in a position where he's accountable to her. That's all I think that was.
Well, it's just because she cares about him, but I think,
I think he asked her to do it.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, she's kind of getting his back, but it is that kind of, I can do this. But we already saw the scene where they take the biggest round. He's driving out in the car, and he can absorb anything. What are you going to do when you shoot the guy?
Right.
I mean, if you shoot him when he's not paying attention.
Yeah, if you shoot him when he's not paying attention. And that's exactly what Hunter was trying to do.
Right.
Very badly, I might add.
Yeah.
Idiot. But how cool was that when he turned to metal and the thing bounced off his head?
Think.
That was fantastic.
His head just kind of twitches to the left a little bit, like.
Well, and when you watch like bullet time stuff, like we've seen it a million times since The Matrix did it, right?
Right.
I'm kind of over it until that scene. I was so into it. I was like, that's awesome.
Especially when you see it just bounce off his head.
Yep, and his head kind of cocked. Oh, that was great.
Now you just made me mad.
Yeah, right. So, okay, we're talking about Creel. You know what? I think they did the bad guy right with him.
Yeah,
I think we got a little story with him. I think that it was interesting. Now, Alil, are you familiar with the Absorbing Man? I mean, is this a character that, because you're the one who always whips out the actual knowledge instead of the weird speculation that Jack and I do?
No, I'm very familiar with him. Actually, he was very popular in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon early on with the Hulk. And he's that, bruising bad guy. So,
right.
No, it was a perfect fit. And
I thought he played it just right.
Dead. Oh, he played it great because he wasn't smart. He wasn't bright. He wasn't even looking for money. I mean, he was getting, he had that weird,
his
file
van
drawer.
with all the weird stuff in it.
Yes.
How awesome
really
was that?
creepy.
Like he's like trying to find like, oh, here's a piece of cloth. Here's some silver. I'll try that. That was really a cool moment when he was going through the drawers.
Yeah. Trying to combat what the 084 did him, and he's got, trying to find whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
it was a good idea when he turned to rubber to handle the 084,
didn't
but
work, but it was a good idea.
Did not work. Yeah.
What did you guys think of that when did you guys realize they were turning to stone? I thought they were turning into like ash or something.
When they froze in carbonite?
Yeah. Oh, Star Wars.
Yes. Well, that's what it reminded me of. I mean, because they all have that face like Han was like,
with the big
you can't
drool
see it
coming out
while
of the
I'm
side.
doing it talking through a microphone, but is my Han face here.
Well, the funny thing is the carbonite thing actually makes sense since we're carbon-based creatures. You kind of, is it stone or is it some sort of carbon-based?
I didn't know we were getting real scientific here, but
well, it's a thing.
I
you didn't know you were podcasting with Jack DeGrasse Tyson or
DeGrasse Tyson.
DeGrasse Tyson. Oh, it's getting late. Can you tell?
It's funny being insulted by misplaced insults.
Oh, come on, Simmons, help me out. What's the name?
No, but I get what you're saying. I mean, and you're right. And I think the coolest part is the fact that he's not dead. That was
Coulson great.
Even said it. They only got like an hour left in the battery pack, and then they got to figure out what to do with them.
That was really good. That was really good. I thought, you know what? Even though we didn't talk about that part of the storyline till the end here, because it really didn't matter, really. I did enjoy that character. I think they did it right.
Well, it looked like Talbot was about to like, you know what? I don't have to do anything for you, and you know what? You're here alone. And when that
was the
fighter
best part of the
uncloaked,
show.
Oh, that was the best because it was just like, you know what? Coulson's just kicking butt now.
Yeah, that was the best part of the show when he was like, when the bus uncloaked, I was like, yes. And then when his fighter uncloaked, I was like, that's awesome.
And you knew it was going to happen. I mean, come on.
But as he's walking away, he's like, let's get out of here before I run out of fuel. He had a lot of funny lines in this episode. My favorite was the George Foreman grill one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like we can't afford much. That one, and the other one he said to, and I didn't catch it on the first viewing, but the one he said to Sky in the beginning, when she's like, when he's talking about how Shield could be completely destroyed. I mean, this really could be it. Like they're so fragile, and she's like, oh, we're just putting things back together. And he goes, and we just got the bathroom retiled. That was a great line.
Typical Coulson.
Yeah, really good. Because last episode, we didn't have a lot of fun with it because there wasn't a lot of fun in it. And I think this episode, they allowed Coulson to be Coulson.
Yeah.
And give us those few moments.
It should have premiered with a 2-hour episode.
It really should have.
This should have just continued.
And it should have been a 2-hour episode that was the Creel story. Because really, his story, yes, it could go on in the season, but they captured him. And now we know what's going on with S.H.I.E.L.D. That's why I said we got some answers. It's not that we got answers, but the show moved forward.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, one of the things that happens with, the season openers, much like the Blacklist, it's this really explosive episode and everything's kind of, kicking up dust. And then that second episode, you're slowly kind of getting back to, what they do. And I think this is what this episode was kind of getting back to business. Okay, we've got this element of, putting the team, the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. back together. We have this element of the 084. Now we're starting to link it with Coulson. But really the whole focus of the episode is them, chasing the superhero villain.
Right.
They've got him under control.
I also think that we were getting to know the players because now we know Mac. We know Mac and Fitz are going to be paired up. We know Triplet is definitely in there now. Like there wasn't any weirdness. We know Sky. We know May. We know Coulson. Like it's a new team. it's the old team with new players, and
Right.
this really kind of solidified all that. And like this Mac guy came out of nowhere. I really enjoyed him. I really liked the interaction with Fitz with him,
Yeah.
and he looks like The Rock, which is pretty awesome.
I don't know that I'd go there, but he has.
I just need him at some point, like just to say the line, "Do you smell that?" That would just make it.
You smell the
That's
Fitz cooking?
Yeah,
I was gonna say that's the wrong line, but okay. I mean, if he said it, nobody would know what you meant.
You know who'd get it? This guy
Fitz.
and Fitz.
Yeah.
The two of us would start laughing.
I don't think he looks like The Rock. I actually think he would have made a perfect Luke Cage.
Oh, I thought so too. I actually thought, I wonder if he's going to be Luke Cage, because he looked like what I think Luke Cage would look like. That would be a unique thing if they did that.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
Spun the
but
Netflix shows off of Shield. Yeah,
not
maybe.
even all of them, just Luke Cage.
What do you think the possibility that Fury is off putting together a sword like component?
Oh, I think it's pretty possible.
You know, that it's not just happening from, without, but it's happening from Fury. Like Fury, okay, you know what? You're director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Do what you can with this. Get the team going. But you know what? I'm out there starting from scratch, and here's my new thing. And that's where the conflicts kind of come from.
Do you think he's putting together a Secret Avengers? Are we going to get that?
Well, that's a good possibility, but I don't know that it'll be like an Avengers type team. I think it'll be a sword. I think it'll be a sword type organization.
Well, the reason I ask about Secret Avengers, Lil, you're going to know this. Was it Fury involved in that, or was it Captain America that put the Secret Avengers together?
Captain America.
So
was it Nick Fury Jr.? They keep changing it, but yes, Captain America, because it was during the Civil War,
right,
where Captain America set up his own Avengers team.
Right, and I've heard rumors that that's where we're going to lead in at the end of Avengers 2, that he's going to be disenfranchised and go set up a Secret Avengers, and we're going to start seeing more players that way. But I wonder if Nick Fury is already involved in that. If he's out there hunting these 084s that we don't know about yet.
I mean, that's possible, but I mean, I guess the thing is we've already seen, a season and 2 episodes, and they've been very
Agent Venom.
There's no way. They don't own it. They don't own it. I wish they could, but they don't own it.
I just had to throw it out there.
That's Sony, but I just don't see that we're going to see that many superpowered beings, especially for a whole team work.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I don't.
Well, you mean on the show?
Yeah.
I'm talking off the show.
So you're saying in movie land, in
movie
because
they tie together,
MCU,
we could get introduced to something here on the show leading to that, so that when we see Nick Fury come back in the movies, we find out, oh, this is what he was doing.
And you don't think they've really solved that in this next Avengers movie?
I don't know.
I think so. Well, to go back to to my conjecture is that within Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., my thinking is he's going to set up another agency kind of that might involve Simmons and going into the sword thing, and that they run into each other like the CIA and FBI and kind of butt heads every once in a while.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I really hope that they do the sword storyline, and that Simmons is not gone.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing her on the show, but I want that character back. That was something that my daughter said while we were watching it. She actually told me 2 times during the episode that she doesn't like this season as much because she loved it last season. And I said, well, what don't you like? She didn't like, and I told her this is going to change, but she said she doesn't like that Coulson. She goes, he's just like a boss. I don't like that he's just a boss. He's not with them.
Right.
I said, well, that's got to change. That's something that absolutely has to change here. And I think tonight we saw the seeds of that. Because he was dying to get out in the field,
Right.
And then the other part of that was Fitz and Simmons. And she said it's sad. And then she said, when you see them together and, when he's imagining her, she said, that's when I like the show. And I was like, you know what, that's actually kind of true, because if they break those two, that was one of my favorite, character developments of last season was Fitz and Simmons.
Right.
And yeah, it's kind of breaking the show if they don't find a way to either put them back together or bring her back and alter this.
Well, that's one of the things I'm starting to have a problem is they've kind of railroaded each of these characters into a dead end corner where Coulson can't, if you're putting the whole component back together, Shield, you can't lead a team. You can't go out into the field. You just can't.
Right.
And
although he said we don't have enough men to do this or people to do this.
So he will be doing it at some point, but really he shouldn't be. So it'll be like the occasional, and then we'll have May every time saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing this." We have May, who's no longer driving the bus, who's just kind of taking care of Coulson.
But do you think that's all going to change now that the bus is back?
Yeah, they've got the bus back. I think you're going to see more of them on the bus, similar to how season 1 was.
Coulson in the air.
Yeah, I think he's going to be there, with the team. I think it's going to build up to him handing it back off
to Fury,
not to Fury, but to Maria Hill.
Oh, you think it'll go to Maria Hill?
I think it'll go to Maria Hill.
That's a good possibility, but I think it's, something's going to have to happen because you can't have Coulson as Coulson right now. May is kind of her full-time job as she sees it is taking care of Coulson. Skye, who, really, she's kind of floundering because there's no direct role for her anymore. Agent,
that's all going to come to a head when they bring in this.
How's
issue.
it going to? But you've got one with brain damage, one suspected with Hydra, one going insane in the cell.
You just described our show.
Exactly, but
wait, who's Hydra here?
A little.
But it seems like we're saying, oh, if Coulson only gets back into the bus, and everything's going to be okay. But you've got 3 or 4 storylines going in such opposite directions that it's going to be hard to put that back together without a big change kind of going back.
Well, do you think that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks? I kind of do.
Well, I do. Here's the only thing I see kind of bringing things back is whatever is in Coulson's head. We've just seen come off the 084, and that's going to get it out of his head fairly soon. There's something going to happen with that very soon.
Okay.
I'd say within not maybe the next episode, but at least the next episode after that. Within 2, whatever's. I still say that what he's drawing are coordinates. It's a map to link that where the Guardians of the Galaxy were to this. And I think that whatever he's doing is what's going to lead the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy together when they come together. That's what I think. Because
I don't think they're built, because by the time that happens, we're talking about Avengers 3. We're talking about 4 years. I don't think they're dragging that storyline 4 years.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, but the communication could happen. But
what's happening? What if they just finished filming with James Spader?
Ultron?
The Blacklist?
No, that's a TV show, but Ultron. So you've already had Guardians of the Galaxy. It's it's old news. Ultron's coming up. So to me, I think that's going to be the link to Ultron. They're going to have some sort of tie-in. Whatever's caught up in Coulson's head is going to come out. And I don't think it's Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's their next project, which is Ultron.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because I don't think it stems from space that way. But
I'm just putting it out there because I was with you.
It's some kind of communication.
Yeah, at first I thought it was Guardians of the Galaxy, but if you look at as a project, that's done.
Well, I don't think it's Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's more Inhumans. I think this is all leading up, and they're using the Inhumans.
Yeah, you could very well be right.
Is kind of like if they would be able to use the X-Men, they can't. So they can use the Inhumans in that light,
right.
And that's why you're able to bring in superpowered characters and not really have to explain them every time. It doesn't have to be a science experiment gone wrong every time. They come from this different area. These are the coordinates. This is where it is. This is, you were injected with Kree blood. I mean, none of this, anything that's already happened with like Coulson, him coming back to life and all that kind of stuff, Sky and everything, doesn't seem to have any kind of tie-in with Ultron. If they had stuff with maybe Pym, I can see that, because
right,
even
but
when
I don't think it's leading to Ultron either.
Yeah, I think Ultron. I think that's still, you might get a little bit. I don't think it's going to have a direct tie-in as well as
no,
Winter Soldier had.
I don't think this will, but I think it will. I think after Avengers 3, the aftermath of that is going to affect this in a big, bad way. That might be when Sword surfaces. We may not see Sword actually surface until that point, but that's when it becomes technological. Like, we got to be able to fight our own technology.
Right.
So I think there will be a huge tie-in.
Well,
I'll tell you why there has to be.
I don't mean there won't be. I mean, with this storyline now, we're talking about aliens and all this kind of stuff with Ultron. But yeah, of course, it's going to have some kind of impact, because
I think it's going to have a major impact, because I think that when they did it with Thor 2, they did that little, they're cleaning up afterwards. That was cool, but it wasn't satisfying. Captain America, super satisfying. It completely put this show on track. And I think they learned from that. Like, we need to keep doing that. Guardians, they couldn't really do that with this because it was so separate.
Right.
But Ultron, that's going to be right here in our own backyard. It's going to have huge implications for this show.
So, I'm seeing on comic book resources, they're asking the same question. Is that setting up for the Inhumans? I really think it's setting up something for the Avengers. But there's a big Inhuman contingent on the web.
And are they setting something up, like you said, for the Netflix thing? I mean, we don't know. Like, everyone's figuring there's going to be an Inhumans movie, but maybe not. Maybe they're going to do a Netflix series with it.
And you can, like Alil said, you can have anything as an Inhuman. You don't have to clear it with Sony. You don't have to clear it with Fox. You don't have to clear it with Marvel. You can plug anything into that and call it an Inhuman, and you're done.
Right. Yeah, because you've got your established Inhumans, but you could take any of those attributes of pretty much any of the X-Men, unless you make it so obvious that it's Wolverine.
Right.
You can pretty much do anything.
His name is George Jackman.
My version, if I became Wolverine, I think when I got really mad, Pop-Tarts would come out of my knuckles.
Pop-Tarts? Jack, that happens now.
Well, that's just the...
Who is Jack mad? There's Pop-Tarts all over the place.
I'm mad.
I want that cherry Pop-Tart.
Bink, bink. Ooh, Pop-Tart.
Gross.
Where's Catwoman when you need her?
Are we done with this one?
I think we are.
I stick a fork in it.
I think for an hour and a half.
Well, like 15 minutes of that was pre-show, though.
Yeah, and 20 minutes of it was me just trying to figure out what the words were to say. Holy cow. I didn't solve those problems today. So, all right, let's wrap it up. Thank you for listening, everybody. You can find past episodes of this and all of our other podcasts at our website, which is www.southgatemediagroup.com. It is the newly redesigned, or in the process of being redesigned, website. You can also find links to all of our social media there. Follow us on Twitter. We have been live tweeting during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it is a lot of fun. Join in on that conversation. We're at Nuff Said Pod. You can also follow the company at SMG Pods. Jack, you tweet from...
At J. Wengroski.
Although you're not live tweeting because you're recording the Blacklist at that time, right? Yes.
Yes.
A little.
I'm trying to think if we're doing an hour before, but it's close.
Did you catch it? I was Jack Simmons right there. Just say yes, Jack. And Alil, you tweet from?
I tweet from at LOGEEKZ, which is the League of Geeks Twitter page. Yeah, you can also listen to my podcast where I have with two other guys, Sean and Steve, at theleagueofgeeks.com. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, and everywhere else.
Yeah, when we make references to Steve or Sean, those are the guys we're talking about. It's a great podcast. Definitely check it out. If you're looking for wholesome family entertainment, that might not be the show. But if you're looking to geek out, yeah, that's the show. So that's it. Thank you again for listening, everybody. Until next time, enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.